It's been a while since this car's been out, and last time it was a little bit difficult to start. I need to get rid of the winter fuel and then find out whether the timing's an issue. So let's take it out for a winter run. Welcome back to my garage diaries. Today I've been out in this 1927 Alvis, and it's running very well, but the ignition is too far advanced, which makes it really heavy to actually start on the cranking handle, to the point where it kicks back at me far too much. So I need to alter it and make it a little less advanced. To do that, on my car I run a Sims magneto. The magneto is a little bit like a coil and a distributor pack all in one go, complete with its own power source. It has this coupling, vernier coupling on the front, with 19 and 20 teeth on either side of this rubber donut, which allows a bit of adjustment, and that's how you advance and retard. You can see I've used a paint pen to actually mark the points on here, so that if this rubber donut breaks and I'm on the road, I at least have a rough idea as to where to line it up to. We need to adjust this today and retard this in relation to the engine driven crank that comes out of the back of the dynamo here. The reason I've got to retard it is because I like to run the car on normal journeys on the ignition on about the N here. I've had to run it way back down here on the other end in the ignition, and to start it I have to pull it right back down to here, and the starting handle still kicks back on me, particularly when it's cold, and it's quite difficult. So what I want to do is, instead of being able to run the car at the ignition point there, I want to be able to run the car with the ignition point there. This lever that I'm operating here mechanically advances and retards the magneto. So this lever here, if I disconnect it, I can advance and retard that automatically, and when the lever on the steering wheel is moved, this moves up and down. So I want to be able to move that just slightly, so I've got a little bit more flexibility on my ignition. One of the first jobs is to remove effectively the distributor cap, like that, and to look where the rotor arm sits. So at the back here, the rotor arm has got a carbon which rotates. That carbon has got to point in the direction of the lead. So inside the distributor cap there are some little brass inserts which then connect with the individual leads. If you follow the number one lead, you can see number one lead is this one, so that my carbon is actually pointing already to the number one position. Now on my carb I've got this little marker point, so I know that's actually on top dead center, and I know that it's correct because the carbon's in the right place. I also have a timing mark on the flywheel here that not only tells me where top dead center is, but also where the timing mark is. So the timing mark has got to line up with that. I would expect my timing mark to be slightly off center there, so that's correct. So I've been outing it today and it's a little bit too advanced, so we've got to retard this slightly. So first job is to undo the horseshoe which holds magneto down. So that's got the magneto, so that the magneto's loose. So according to the Alvis manual, if I move the rear sprocket backwards, I can advance it, and if I move it forward, I can retard it. But if I move the little rubber donut in the middle round the same way, I get a much less increase. So if I want to move it 1 degree forward or 1 degree back, I can just change this and move this one tooth, and that will set it 1 degree. I think I'm going to just retard it, so I'm going to turn this centerpiece around, I think 2 or 3 clicks, and then we'll see if it's better. So if I hold this and I move that back, I want to retard it, so I want to move this, and I want to move this 3 clicks. So if I count 1, 2, 3. That's 3 degrees, and if I put it back, that should have retarded it and moved it further back. Let's tighten it all back up and do a test. So I should now be able to set my ignition to fully retarded. I'll turn my ignition on. The car's cold, so I'll just pull out the choke a small amount, and I'll also turn the hand throttle up just slightly. Next job is to turn the petrol on, and the petrol tap is this one here, so I'm just going to pull that out, and that then allows the gravity fed fuel to run down these pipes into the 2 carburetor bowls. Whenever you start with a old-fashioned crank handle, never put your thumb around the handle like that, because if it kicks back, it can really hurt your wrist, it can break your thumb, it can do that thumb a lot of damage. So you want your hand fully forward and around the handle, and don't be tempted to put your thumb around it. Your thumb has to go round with your fingers. Let's get the crank handle in the car. So we put the crank handle in, we find where the engine will rotate, and it should really just be a single push. No kickback, just a single push. There we go. Much easier. So we've come inside the car, we push the choke in, and then we're just going to take the ignition up to the end. It's a little bit cold, but it's still running nicely. And if we take the throttle off, it will sit and tick over nicely. Time to take it out for a quick road test. So tick over is better. Bit of a hill start. But generally, pickup much more improved, and the timing is on the steering wheel where it should be. Bit of a blast on the way home then. Seems to be fixed. Do like and subscribe, and come back again.